When I started investing into real estate, I started with residential property. Now, my name is Somen Mondal. I lived in Sydney. Back in 2014, 2015, at that time when I started investing, I was looking to invest positive cash flow properties. Now, one of the main challenge that I was facing is that in Sydney, I was not able to find any positive cash flow property, which means like after paying all the expenses I want to still have like $20, $30, $50 per week, positive cash flow. And that's how I actually looked at, oh, if I can't find it in Sydney, so where can I find it? And I actually found it in Queensland, in Brisbane. Then the main challenge was the most people face is that, okay, if I am in Sydney, how do I go into Queensland? Answer: by taking a flight. Like at that time, 2014, 2015, I would on Saturday in the morning, I would get up, I would take a flight, I will take my car to the airport and drop there and take a flight. I'll go to Brisbane, I will pick up a hired car and I am going to go to that location. And I was looking to buy in the area which is in the Brisbane vicinity and within like 20-30 kilometers within Brisbane. My thought process at that time is that if I buy a property here and if it is a positive cash flow, then it doesn't matter whether it is going up or not, I'm still getting 10, 20, $30 cash flow. At that time my thought process was to get positive cash flow, but what challenges that I faced is that after buying few properties, I was hitting debt ceiling, which is like lender is saying, sorry, I cannot lend you anymore. But the point of this thing is it's not very difficult to come out of your comfort zone and going to taking a flight and go there. If you see the whole cost at that time, I remember it used to cost me $250 total for the whole day to go there, look for properties, and then come back in the evening flight and still have dinner at home kind of thing. So Sydney to Brisbane is like a 1 hour flight, right? And this was exactly at that time. I remember I was doing like almost every month, at least once I would go there. The point of this thing is that most people don't do that. They want to invest into commercial property or residential property or any kind of properties, and if they want to invest somewhere else, they just don't want to go there. So there are two ways of doing is that if you don't want to go, make sure that the person that you're hiring, that person is doing it, or if they're not doing it, then you will are doing it. And at that time I could not afford to pay anyone, so I was doing by myself because I also wanted to learn all these things by myself. So I used to do these things. Same thing, same logic that you can implement to any form of investment, anything. Remember, no one cares more than what you do about your investment. So if you cannot go on a Saturday morning, take a flight and go there and invest and look for that area and then come back just for a day, and it costs you right now, let's say instead of $250, depends on which flights you go and what type of cars that you hire and all sort of things, it could cost probably, let's say, $400-500. Now $500, and if you have to make 3 trips, which is like a $1,500, is worth doing it than just blindly look for a property and buy. Which is why I always say that if you are living in Sydney and if you want to buy a property in Perth, then remember the location thing, because you can't go to Perth and come back on the same day. If you want to buy it in Melbourne, if you buy it in Brisbane, that's quite easy. Similarly, if you are in Brisbane, then if you are looking for the surrounding area, like all the regional place, it's much easier than if you are in Sydney or Melbourne, because the travel time is going to be high. So it's all about personal circumstances, it's all about like what we want to achieve. But the more important factor is that you have to be there, have to have a feelings, even though you want to buy a residential, commercial, whatever type of properties. And with commercial property, you might go with make that property under contract, and then you go and have a feeling that yeah, I want to buy this. And if you feel something wrong, and if you have engaged a buyer agent and you go with them and feel like, oh no, this is not the fine, that's fine. Just you spend probably $500,000-700,000. It's better to lose that $1,000 than buy something which can cost you a lot of money in the future. So my thought process was that you have to do it yourself. Hence you have to go there, and do not buy a property without looking into it. Do not buy a property without having a feeling on that locations. And with commercial property, although you can, but you still have to have kind of an idea about what's happening. And if you do not know, then make sure that you hire a person who can do these things. That way you save that time and money, because you hired someone else who can do on your behalf. Hopefully this gives you an idea about how you can buy a property as an interstate investor, how you can go, and it's not that difficult, and how I used to do it and I'm still doing it. And not only for us, for others as well. I have other people also who are helping me to do these things as part of my buyer agency. But having said that, this is something that is must. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.